Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to make a really quick guide on what I did when it came to the focus trees and the focus schools, so you can have some sort of idea if you're completely lost. Because at first this can be very confusing. This is very different than a lot of the game. So right off the bat, I would recommend Zenric as your primary school, because it has a decent passive and Energizing Dash is an amazing ability they can use on any mission. You don't have to worry about building your operator specifically for Eidolon hunting. You can build them to be useful in missions for you as well. And I'll show you an example of what Energizing Dash does for you later on in this video. Past this, the reason Zenric's also fairly good is Void Siphon and Void Flow are very good for both the Eidolon fights as well as just having a good operator. Do note that you can unbind these. Every school has 2 waybound, as you can see in their title here. And that means that once you rank it up to this last node, that last dot there, you can actually unbind it and use it with any other school. So you can see like these 2 are not Zenric, but I still have them active because I have them unbound. If I go over to the Vazarin school, you can see that I unbound these, so I can have increased operator health and increased operator health regeneration, even when I'm primary Zenric. So going along with that, some of the waybounds that I would highly recommend are those 2 that I said. These are especially useful if you do a lot of Eidolon hunting, so you don't have to pop in and out of your operator and Warframe that often. You can kind of just stay as your operator for most of the fight, which just makes it a lot easier and makes it so you don't let your Warframe die as often. So these were the first 2 that I went for unbounds. Another one that I very much appreciate is Mind Sprint, and that increases the distance. It says the Void Dash speed, which is basically the distance that you can dash with your operator. And I really like using this for mobility, especially on the plains. I like using it to get from bounty to bounty, and I use it especially on the Eidolon fights to get to the Eidolon or get to lures as quickly as possible. One I'm working on right now is just getting more operator movement speed. This isn't a must by any means, but it's something that I would like after getting all of these here. And so the very last node, I keep calling it a node, but these 3 things, those are called nodes. But just this last rank here, this last dot, is always going to be a million standing and a brilliant Eidolon shard. And I can talk more about Eidolon shards later on in a separate video when I go more in depth on Eidolons. And a million might sound like a lot and kind of daunting, but you'll see how easy it really is to get focus. It really can come pretty easily to you, and if it doesn't, just leave a comment and I can help you out or make a separate video on that as well. Other bounds that you might look into, especially if you're fighting Eidolons, these 2, I would say only go for these really if you do Eidolon hunt quite a bit, because it refers to your amps, and that's what you're using to fight, the Terror List and so on. So these are very helpful if you do like Tridolon fights a lot. You're going to want those as soon as possible. Unairu is kind of up to you if you want to unbind them. I went ahead and got this first one here, just to make my operator a little more tanky. I don't use Void Blast too often, so you can use this. A lot of people do like Unairu as like their main school for the Eidolon fight, utilizing Unairu Wisp, which can increase your operator damage, which is very good for taking on the shields of each of the big dudes on the plains. So don't just say, don't just go along with what I'm saying. If you're not feeling like you really need the Energizing Dash from Zenric, then you can go ahead and do whatever you want. You can use any school you want. Zenric is just easy to say that it's the best because of Energizing Dash. You can find a good thing in every single one of these schools that isn't in, you know, the other schools. So you can make a case for any one of them. I'm just saying that Zenrik has been my favorite and is an easy one to get into, especially since Energizing is right off of the first node here. So I can go show you a few of these things in action here. We'll just head on to the plains. Yep. Make sure I'm on solo so I don't bother anyone. And I'll get back to you once I'm on there. Alright, so we're out on the plains now, and I wanted to bring Saren, one of my frames that I don't use Energy Siphon on, so you can see how useful Energizing Dash can be. So basically, I mean, in bounty situations, I would just come out of the door and immediately I'll pop into Operator, I'll dash, and this aura that you can see around here, this yellow goldish kind of thing, is my Energizing Dash aura. And you can see my energy is going up very quickly. And up next to my health and shield, you can see the timer of how long that's going to last for me. So, as you can see, that's very, very useful and allows you to use a lot more auras other than Energy Siphon. Energy Siphon is my go-to aura, even though Corrosive Projection is better in a lot of situations. I just very much like having energy to cast my abilities because I love casting abilities. So Energizing Dash allows me to do that even more, especially on something like Saren if I'm spamming my 4 often, or even, you know, recasting my 3, maybe even doing a molt every once in a while. You can see my energy's always going upwards. It's very fun for like any frame that's power hungry. Zenrik is a very good option for you. And moving on, if you want to see like Mind Sprint, the distance that you can go, and that's not fully ranked yet in terms of my energy. If you get a higher like Void Flow, you're going to have more energy to cast this with, so you're basically going to be able to do more dashes. But even how it is now, you can see how quickly I can clear distance here. So here's my waypoint, I'm standing right on it, and then I dash. That's as much as I can dash, and you easy roll. So almost 200 meters, and you can go even further if you know, execute it better, or you have even more energy like I was saying, because mine isn't fully ranked up yet. So at the end of every dash is going to be your Energizing Dash, and that's the main pull for Zenrik. You can only get this through Zenrik. You cannot unbind it like the other things that I was talking about here. And then my health here, that's without any arcanes or anything, so that's just that unbound node that increases my operator health. And if I take some damage to my health, you can see that it regens because of the other node that I was able to unbind, even though my primary is still Zenrik. I know that's a lot of information, and a lot of you may have already tuned out by now just because it is a lot. I just kind of wanted to throw it all out there in a quick and hopefully effective manner. Of course, if you have questions, you can always reach out to me in the comments. You can go ahead and join my Discord. That's linked in all of my videos. Easy to get in contact with me there. Yeah, never, you know, any question is not a dumb question, you know. And that's about it for this video, and hopefully see you soon.